Hey, what's up, guys? It's CJ. I'm here with Mike and Richard, and we're bringing you another episode of Superhero Sundays. We're going to get into WandaVision. But before we do that, don't forget to like and subscribe because any and all support is greatly appreciated and it helps us impact the community. So, with all that being said, roll the intro. So we're up to episode 7 of WandaVision, and we've been following it episode by episode, and things are starting to come together, tie in, and some more surprises, some more things that you didn't expect are happening. And so first, before I get into everything, let's put the disclaimer up front. Spoiler alert. We're going to get into some things that's going to possibly be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode 7 of WandaVision, cut this off, go watch it, and then come back and rejoin us, all right? So, again, the beginning of the show started off differently than all the other episodes. And for me, I got the vibe of The Office. I don't know, Richard, Mike, what do you guys think? What kind of vibe did you get from this episode?
I agree. I got The Office, Parks and Recs, which I'm a bigger fan of, and even Modern Family.
Yeah. What I got from is, I think they said that the piano was, like medley is from The Office, kind of. And then the different shapings of Wanda is kind of like Happy Days. How it goes from the happies, you know, how it shows the different variations of the letters spelled out Happy Days. And then you were perfectly correct on that the last one is Modern Family.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about Modern Family. I just got from how they're like talking to the camera like an interview. I got that seemed like it was like The Office. But is that also in Modern Family also, or
it
Parks
is
and
the
Recs?
Modern Family thing? But one of my favorite shows that had that was the Bernie Mac show.
Bernie Mac show was hilarious.
Listen here, America.
I forgot about that show, bro. Yeah, it did kind of remind me of that.
I loved this one.
Rest in peace, Bernie. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every intro has always taken over like some type of popular show in every decade, right? And I really had to think about because sitcoms nowadays are just not as popular as it was 20 years ago, as it was in the 80s and as in the 90s. So
True.
I just had to think like, well, what was more popular shows now? I think of The Office, Modern Family, and it's just, yeah.
Parks and Recs.
Shows aren't really, I don't know, sitcom shows are just not as popular these days now. Everyone's watching everything on YouTube or streaming something or...
Exactly.
And one of the cool things about the name of the episode was called Breaking the Fourth Wall. And if you really think about each of the ones that you named off, Office, Parks and Recs, and Modern Family, each of them break the fourth wall by talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as if they're being interviewed or something like that.
So it really plays along with the name of the episode as well as the sitcoms that it's trying to portray.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty good. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was breaking the fourth wall because Wanda expanded her borders, but tear went right over my head. Sorry about that, guys.
I guess that's why I'm here.
Well, yeah, so I didn't think, but that's pretty cool. I didn't think about that. I mean, of course, like I said, Wanda's expanding her universe or her reality. Things are glitching out like crazy now too. You saw that in the beginning, like she's trying to sit down, eat cereal, watch TV. TV changes. The kids playing the video games, and the video game changes. So, you think that's because she's having that mental breakdown and kind of depressed about what's going on?
I really think so. I think it's mental exhaustion and just overall body exhaustion from doing everything that she's been doing. And if you really think about it, in the very beginning of the episode, she's kind of like lying in bed and she doesn't really want to get up. Like when you really don't feel like doing anything, you're just mentally drained. Not only that, but just like you might be even going through like depression where you don't want to get up, you just don't want to do anything. And that's exactly how she like came across, like somebody that just not wanting to do it. And even she said it might be the case of the Mondays, like
Yeah.
you just don't want to do it. Like Monday is like the day that you're like
It's just, yeah, like you said, you get depressed. Like she leaned over in the beginning, she looked over on the side of her bed and Vision wasn't there. She just kind of looked like she was sad about that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, depression, man. What do you think, Rich? You think that too? Like she's just, her emotions are getting to her? Or?
Yeah, definitely that emotions are there. I think this guilt trip is subconsciously taken over. And I also kind of think that, I mean, she's controlling an environment that's, well, before she even expanded it, like 6 square miles of areas. Within that area, like thousands of people. She is controlling every little part of that city. And I could just only imagine like how much control does, like, or even ability does she have, to really control everyone and everything in that thing. So it's like she's really, I felt like it's showing that her limits of her power is starting to thin a little bit because there's so much that she has that she's in control of.
Yeah, definitely. She's, like I said, kind of taking a toll on her. And even like her interactions with her kids, she's just like not really happy and bubbly like she was before. She's just like, I don't want to do anything. She even says something about, her brother, like, don't listen to him. That's not your uncle. That's not my brother. So it's just, things are kind of just going out of control, and she's just almost like she wants to kind of confront it and face it, but she doesn't want to, but she's starting to realize like things are now out of my hands and I can't control everything like I thought I could.
I think you hit it pretty much on the head there, especially the interaction which she had with her kids on the fact that they asked about Pietro, and she was like, no, that's not your uncle or whatnot. And when they asked her, like, what do you mean? She goes, well, I know you look at me, Mom, and think that I'm gonna have all the answers, but I don't.
I don't.
Even though she's the one making all this stuff up, or the illusion of her doing everything, it's like, even she's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I found it funny, the part when she's coming down the stairs and her kids are fighting. She just looks at them like, I'm going to the kitchen.
Yeah, she doesn't want to deal with it. She's just like, whatever happens now, basically. And like Mike said, she doesn't have the answers for stuff, so she's just like, all is lost, basically. Speaking of answers, it seems like Agent Wu and Captain Rambeau are trying to figure things out. Like they're trying to piece things together to find an answer about what's going on. They're looking at Hayward and what he has done. And he says something about they think that he's trying to get his sentient weapon back. Are you talking about Vision? Is that what he was hinting at? Is that what he's talking about?
I do believe so, because if you remember when they cut Wanda coming in to a sword facility and taking him, and he is everything how he described that sword is moving towards, AI, nanotech, robotics, and so on. That is Vision. Like everything about it is Vision, and she took it away from them, and he wants it back. That's the asset that he's been looking for. And probably, like I said in one of the first few episodes, that missing person is probably the body of Vision that's missing.
So when they're trying to figure everything out, and then they go and meet, I guess, Captain Rambeau's Connect. So her connection is Mr. Goodner. Is not Reed Richards, or what do you think about that?
Goodner or something like that. Yeah, everybody thought it was, or I thought it was gonna be Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards, or at the very least, I was even thinking after we recorded that, what if they're gonna flip it and go like it's actor Victor Von Doom instead of Reed Richards? And I was like, that'd be so cool, because who else to be other than the smartest man in the Marvel universe of Reed Richards, but to bring in the villain, but not as the villain yet, but just as somebody that's smart and helping, Sword, who right now under the direction of Hayward is kind of like not really the good people, but kind of are. So, but we were completely fooled. You got me.
Yeah, major good nerd.
Yeah, this is how you know I'm not part of the MCU writing team.
Hey man, you still are. You probably just hiding something. We don't know yet.
Yeah, he's tricking himself.
He forgot his own writings, basically. No, so it seemed like, so Mr. Goodner and that team, part of SWORD, came through. And they came through with a big truck. Richard, what do you think about that big contraption? I don't know what that thing was, like some big gigantic truck that was supposed to withstand.
It definitely reminded me of one of those space vehicles from the movie Armageddon. Yeah, right?
It did, right? Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like.
That's the thing that came to my mind. And I mean, it was awesome looking. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I kind of didn't understand why they thought it was going to be able to penetrate through the force field or through the hex field. They didn't really explain too much on why it's so special, but they made it seem to be so very special. So I don't know.
I think they originally went over like it had some kind of metal that withstands like some kind of cosmic radiation, blah blah blah. So they think it would withstand Wanda's hex, but as we noticed, it didn't.
Yeah, it got turned into a van, some kind of minivan or something like that, or half of it did at least.
Yeah,
half a truck or something like that.
Yeah, and but Captain Rambeau was able to, run through it and go through it. So, I mean, she went through it once already or twice already. Well, she went through and then got tossed out of it.
It'll be her third time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was her third time having an encounter with that wall. And so, I mean, even at first, and it was that episode maybe like 4 or 5 when they showed her actually going through it initially. I don't know, you would think that something really bad would happen to her when she first goes through it, but she just went through it easily. But she did lose her memory and things like that, and she got, under the trance of Wanda. But this time when she went through it, she didn't lose her memory and she wasn't under control of Wanda. So you think that thing is kind of manipulating her body and, like it's changing her DNA, right? Is that what's happening?
It's rewriting her DNA.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it was that was an interesting scene though, because as she's pushing through the barrier, there are like these voices that were going through her head, and it was like the voice of her mom. It was Nick Fury's voice telling her stuff, or she was recalling conversations that she was having with her mom as a child, things like that before she went on her last mission or a mission that her mom went through to get cancer or whatever it is. I'm not too sure about it, but it was pretty significant. They're having those conversations in her head as she was going through. So I found that pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, and it seemed like she got stronger and started changing into something that we'll probably get into a little bit later on. Speaking of people going through that bubble, Darcy went through she didn't go through it. She got absorbed or consumed in the bubble, and she started got put in a trance, and so she didn't know who she was, and Vision was like, trying to like, I don't you remember me? She's like, no, I don't remember you. What do you guys think about her and how she was like part of the clown or part of the circus, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing that was funny is cool because she was handcuffed, right?
Yeah, or chain.
No, but before the Hex took over, she was handcuffed.
She was handcuffed to the vehicle.
Yeah, so it went from being handcuffed to being the escaped artist of the chains.
Yeah.
And then if you remember or see that the guy, the strong guy who ended up coming up and talking to them is the guy that put her in the handcuffs. So she got her revenge.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so she got her revenge by punching him in the face.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, is she like super strong now or something? But I guess maybe those chains they're fake because you're supposed to put on a show for an escape artist.
Exactly.
And she broke through the chains and then she punched that guy. But I didn't realize that's what that guy was, that she got her revenge from that. But yeah, and then Vision had to help her and kind of get her out of that trance, and her and Vision started to become like a duo, and going through that bubble and trying to figure out what's going on. But that's kind of like more towards the middle of the show, and then after that we started seeing the commercial. The commercial popped up, another commercial that is just weird, and so but this commercial, it talked about her depression basically. Is that what you guys got from that?
It has a lot, but I'll go ahead and let Richard talk first.
There's not much for me to say today. I just know that the whole thing called Nexus has something to do with like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's something in the Marvel comic universe.
I didn't even know what Nexus is from. I was trying to figure out what Nexus is from. Maybe I should be embarrassed. I don't know what it's from, but I was like, what does that word mean?
It's an old shampoo from the 80s, CJ.
So, this commercial is actually going to be one that not a lot of people actually would have gotten. Nexus is basically a multi-dimensional portal where you can go through different areas. And this pretty much is saying that Wanda is a Nexus being. What that means is that she's one of the very few that can go through, and her body is, or her like herself, she's in all different realities, like herself. She's one of the only ones. There's like her and like 3 other people. She's called a Nexus being, where she's able to go from reality to reality without any issue.
Wow, yeah, this is perfect for this show or this series, because different realities. She literally created her own reality, and so she has the power to do that. That's crazy. And again, I didn't know what Nexus meant, so thank you for that, Mr. MCU writer. Thank you for that.
Yeah, even I had to think about it, because it's just one of those things where it's so not really obscure, but just in a specific instance where it talks about, different dimensions, alternate realities and that sort of thing, and being a Nexus being and stuff like that. There's not many around, so it doesn't really come up a lot. But the way that this commercial just made it, perfect. Like it's a drug. It almost sounded like a drug.
Yeah.
You have to take it, and you said to take it so you feel better about your reality, or the reality that you're in. So it's definitely really well done by Marvel yet again.
Just for fun, who are the other people that can be a Nexus being? Come on, man.
I think Doctor Strange is one, because he's the and then the
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, the last one I don't know.
Up top here, okay. That's pretty crazy.
But it does go perfect into, like I said, that this is going to tie into Doctor Strange's new movie.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, since Doctor Strange, the movie is called a multi-universe. So yeah, different realities, different portals. It ties into that. That makes sense.
He might show up at the end of this season. That's a prediction.
Doctor Strange?
Yeah, that's a prediction.
You think he has to come in and save the day somehow?
I think he's just going to show up. I don't know if he's going to save the day, but I think he's going to show up kind of like, yo.
Let's get this going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what's the next movie that's going to be for MCU? Is it Doctor Strange?
I think they said that it's this show, and then this leads directly into Doctor Strange. But of course, Black Widow is going to come out this summer, and then
that's right.
I forget the Spider-Man's going to come out, which I think that's going to come out with also multiverse type of thing, and then I think then after that is Doctor Strange. Speaking
of Strange, man, Agnes is acting weird in the show, like always. But after the commercial, she starts having some interactions with the kids. And I noticed something that I don't know if it's Billy or Tommy. I think it's Billy. Billy's the one that's like his mom, right? Billy was saying like he likes it at Agnes's house because it's quiet. And he's like, Agnes, you're quiet, like on the inside. Like she maybe she has some kind of power that can block him from listening to her, or his mind, or her mind. Richard, what do you think about Agnes and the kids and that whole kind of her being their babysitter? Basically, is what that was.
Well, of course, it's always Agnes to the rescue, right? At the right time.
Yeah.
Which we'll discuss later, right? Yeah, when he said that he doesn't hear the voices, I didn't think about that. Maybe because it's her who's controlling him. I just thought that maybe it was he's not hearing the voices with Agnes because Agnes isn't trying to control 1,000 people at the same time or something like that. Unlike his mom, but that's what I took away from it.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? I mean, Agnes, yeah, like you said, she's always coming at the right time, saving the day.
I called
the kids away.
Yeah, you did.
But we'll talk about that more later. But one of the little tidbits that they talked about is a lot of people brushed it off, but how she said that she has a mole on her back.
Yeah, I was like,
yes.
A witch mole, thinking about that,
But yeah, I guess that's one of the things that people thought witches had, a specific mole or birthmark. And she was kind of like hinting at, I have a mole, a really, ridiculous one on her back. So it was a slight like little nod at, yes, this is who you think it is. And also back to what you said about when they're at Agnes's house, is that he said that, it's really quiet here. I think it's because she has her magic that's keeping it so people like him cannot do anything. So I think when Wanda ended up going to the house, Wanda's going to find out that she can't use her magic.
Yeah.
Inside the house, inside wherever that is, right? And the fact that he said he can't, she's quiet inside because she's blocking or keeping him out.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is really cool, how it kind of did it, like you said, she's kind of like the babysitter. In the comic books, she kind of was the babysitter for the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like, she's not always bad in the comics. Sometimes she actually helps Wanda develop her powers, that sort of thing. But when this whole thing where Mephisto soul is used to make the kids, he is like the babysitter, and then gets the thing going where Mephisto comes back and takes over the children. And I really think that when this is all going to go down, that it's going to be more of a ritual that she's going to do to bring forth Mephisto.
Wow. Yeah, man, that scene was weird, and like I said, she's hinting at that she's something more than just a babysitter or just a neighbor. But and after that, you see Vision and Darcy. Again, they have their own interactions, and they're in that truck trying to head back into the center of the town. And Darcy kind of starts explaining to Vision about who he is and about his past. And he learns that he basically, Wanda saw him die, or she had to watch him die. And so he kind of starts seeing, like, he realizes like maybe why Wanda's doing this, all right, what Wanda actually feels. And so he starts learning more about himself and what's really going on. What do you guys think about their interaction with Darcy and Vision?
I think it's one of those things where it kind of shows where Vision, like, she completely wiped his memory from anything before being there, so he doesn't ask a lot of questions. As you notice that he was always asking questions like, wait, how did I die first?
Yeah.
Wanda killed me? Oh, okay. But you said I died again? Oh, yeah. But then, that guy manipulated time, brought you back, and then killed you in front of Wanda.
Yep.
And Wanda had to watch you die. But he's like, but did, good come of it? No, we lost half of the universe.
Yeah.
Like all these things, and he's starting to realize the situation, how it's not just the situation that's happening there currently, but all the things that happened leading up to that, like you said, it kind of ties in Wanda's whole mindset, her whole reason for doing this, even though she doesn't know how it started, but how she's keeping it hush, how she's doing this to keep him away, or we don't know if it's her that's keeping him away, because every time they get closer, something happens to kind of delay them.
Yeah, some kind of construction in the street or traffic lights. That was kind of funny and weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good interaction because like I said, Vision got to learn about his past, and maybe he's starting to realize that he knows what's going on. He has a better idea, understanding of maybe why Wanda's doing this, and what he's going to do from here forth. And so Wanda is controlling everything. She doesn't want anything to change, and Captain Rambeau kind of confronted her about that in like kind of the next part of the series, or the next part of this episode, where I thought they were going to fight. I thought they were about to go duel and just go at it. So do you think Captain Rambeau, she's kind of turning into some kind of superhero or something, right, Richard? I mean, you saw her eyes change, and like you said, she went through that force field and she heard voices from her mom and things like that. So she's changing.
Yeah, you could definitely see that she's physically changing. You see her eyes are glowing purple. You got a first-person perspective of what she was seeing at that time, how she was seeing a lot of these energy fields around high-energy things like power lines and whatnot. She's turning into Photon, right? Phantom?
Photon.
Okay, yeah. So that's. Is it ever said how she became that character, or is this kind of something new that they decided to write in? How Monica Rambeau became Photon?
Mr. MC Writer.
In the comic books, of course, she becomes Photon completely different way than what she does. I think this is just how to tie her in and bring her into the MCU, where they make it work. Because if the Infinity Stones are no longer around, she can't really get the same kind of powers as Captain Marvel because the Infinity Stones aren't there. So how else would she gain her powers? Well, they decided to use the whole Wanda and her Hex and her, going through the different
forces.
Yeah.
Oh, and then rewriting her DNA and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. And even then you saw that Wanda didn't really want to hurt her. Like Wanda's kind of holding back, and Wanda's super powerful, but she didn't want to hurt her because maybe Captain Rambeau was speaking some truth when they were kind of, looking at each other and having that interaction, saying you have to stop this. But Wanda doesn't want to stop this. She doesn't want this to end. She wants her fake reality. She kind of protected, she didn't protect Captain Rambeau, but she didn't want to hurt Captain Rambeau. She kind of created her basically, but yeah, I thought that was a crazy interaction. I thought they were going to fight, but again, who comes to interrupt?
Agnes
interrupts.
Before we talk about that part, I thought it was interesting on their conversation when Rambeau was trying to tell her, like, don't let what's his name, the director guy, don't let Hayward make you the villain. And Wanda, it's like she's already accepted the fact that she is, because her follow-up line was, maybe I already am.
Yeah. I noticed that too. And like we talked about in the last episode, she kind of is a villain. She's controlling all these people against their will. She's kind of almost willing to do whatever it takes to keep her reality, if that means not hurting people, but, pushing people away. Expanding her universe and changing people. It's like she's willing to do whatever she can to keep that bubble going. And so in a way, she kind of is a villain, but I think she's going to kind of realize that she went too far and she needs to quit. I don't know, maybe Dr. Strange will come in and say, you got to stop that. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but again, Agnes comes in, she saves the day, takes her away to her house. And that's when things started going crazy. Wanda would discover some kind of lair down in her basement. What do you think about that, Mike? In that whole little kind of creepy basement in the whole scene?
It almost seems like a ritual site. When you watch any kind of like scary movies and a witch has like a area that's open-ended, like in the middle, and then has all these candles and these demonic things on the wall and stuff like that.
There was even seemed like there was some kind of like a book, like a spell book there or something. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, the Darkhold, I think it's what it's called. What everybody thinks it is. It's basically like the Book of Sins. And some people even tie it back to, again, Doctor Strange, the first movie, when they showed all those books on the wall and said, like, these are all the books. In one of the points in the movie, there's a book missing.
Yep.
And everybody's thinking, oh, maybe that's the book that's missing.
Wow.
That's why that's what people think Doctor Strange is going to show up, because he's looking for that final book. And that's the book that Agnes took, and he wants it to put back into the collection because it shouldn't be out in the wrong hands.
That would be a perfect way to bring him in. And we find out that she's a witch. Her name is really Agatha Harkness, right? Did I say that right? And yeah, she's some kind of witch. She says, "You're not the only one who has powers here in this land or this reality," wherever she says. And it's been Agatha all along. Is that little song that comes on.
Straight banger.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Now the show took a twist where now it's her show with her theme. Which is really, and it's funny because that theme really gave it like this Munsters feel to it, right? The Munsters are not Adams, Munsters, not Adams Family. Yeah. Kind of vibe to it. It was pretty funny.
It showed how she was pulling the strings, all the nefarious strings throughout the whole show.
Yeah, all the stuff where Wanda was like confused and wasn't realizing what was going on, right? So now it kind of all makes sense why she was confused, right?
Exactly. Something I noticed too is that she mentioned her husband again.
Ralph?
Was Ralph. I'm starting to think, do you think maybe her husband is Mephisto? Maybe that's who she's connecting to?
Your own show? That's exactly what I said in the beginning.
You said that she was he's my big husband?
Yeah, because she always reference him, but you never see him. She always talks about, him doing this, him doing that, him telling her do this, but you never really see him. I think that, like I said, in that ritual type room, I think, and she even talked about it when Agnes talked to the camera. She said that she once bit a kid, like bit them, right? And she harms kids, so you would think that she's gonna take the kids, do some kind of ritual to bring forth her husband, Ralph, or Mephisto, or whoever it is. And I think me personally, I think it's using Wanda, creating the Nexus portal, then sacrificing the kids to bring forth Mephisto through with the portal.
It makes sense because remember she says she's the one who killed the dog. Isn't it Scratchy or something? Or what's the dog's name?
Sparky.
She's the one who killed Sparky, but when she did that, she was like talking to Wanda. She's like, "You can bring people back from the dead. You can do that." So maybe she does want something brought back that maybe she lost, or that or somebody she wants back. Could be Mephisto. Also, just throwing this out there, could Mr. Scratch the Bunny be Mephisto?
I mean, again, how I kind of pointed out in the beginning, where Old Scratch is an old euphemism for the devil. I mean, it could be, or I think some people even said that the bunny might be Pietro.
Why?
Because she holds him, and then when she uses the magic, she turns him into Pietro, and then when he's not Pietro, he's back to a bunny. I don't know. That's what people are saying on Reddit, and I'm like, it can be. You never see the bunny and Pietro at the same time. Bunnies are
but that's true. But at the end, at the little end credit scene, did you guys stay for the end credit scene?
Of course.
I didn't the first time. My wife was watching it, and she's like, "Hey, there's an end credit scene." I'm like, "What?" I had to run back and see what was going on. And so Pietro shows up. You know, Captain Rambeau. She finds that basement layer, you know, down at Agnes' house.
Snoop.
Yeah, snoopers are going to snoop is what Pietro says. So, I mean, I don't know. The bunny is down there and Pietro is there at the same time. Maybe that one doesn't line up, but I don't know. We'll see. And again, on this show, we like to recognize real life heroes. And one of those heroes is May Bonnin. May Bonnin was born in the Philippines and saw the medical field as an opportunity to have a better life in the U.S. She fell in love with the career and has worked in a nursing home, a subacute facility, and then in Bakersfield Hospital from 2008 to 2019. She has transitioned over to aesthetics, making people feel good about themselves, even during this crazy pandemic. Her husband, Richard, works in the medical field as well at a hospital in Bakersfield. They have 2 children, and they are an amazing power couple. Thank you, guys. We see what you're doing. Just continue to inspire people, continue to work hard, and do what you do and help people around the world. And that concludes another episode of Superhero Sundays. Tune in next week where we get into WandaVision and some more cool topics. God bless and have a good night.